Hi, everybody. Meteorologist Joe Cioffi here. Weather in 5 days in 5 minutes on the last day of meteorological winter. Uh, Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware, your superstore for everything you need to keep your home clean and safe after a winter storm, and they still have plenty left. They also started to get some of their spring stuff in, so you might want to check it out. They serve the entire New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area with the lowest prices anywhere. 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon, New York. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. With respect to winter weather and respect to any kind of adverse weather, it's quiet across much of the United States, with the exception being up in the Pacific Northwest, as we're starting to see a strong flow coming in off the Pacific that's bringing in some moisture. Even some of that air being on the warmer side, producing that bright blue you see here in the watches and warnings. Those are actually avalanche warnings that are up, and a few winter weather advisories. But other than that, it is just absolutely quiet everywhere across the U.S., and it's going to stay that way for at least a little while here in the Northeast and in the Mid-Atlantic states. We don't have any big issues. We've got a really nice-looking day today as we take a look at the satellite loop. Sunshine. Now there are some clouds up to the north in upstate New York. Not a lot. There's what the lighter gray that you see that's not moving. That's actually snow cover that's still on the ground. Meanwhile, we have a disturbance moving through the southeast that's weakening and heading eastward. And you can see that tail of moisture running offshore, and the flow of moisture that we just mentioned that is coming in from the Pacific Northwest. And on the radar, that's where it is relatively busy from the standpoint of rain that is moving in to the coast of Washington and Oregon and points inland, and also spreading eastward. We're seeing some of this is in snow, and of course in the higher elevations, and that is all pushing east across Idaho and Montana. But other than that, it really is quiet. A little bit of snow activity up in the northern Great Lakes. The northeast, the radars are shut down, and in the southeast, we have a few showers off the Georgia coast and off into northeastern Florida, and those are moving to the east. So, again, this is going to be one of those weeks. March is typically a very volatile month, and it can be a very stormy month, also a windy month, because spring is starting to trying to make an appearance and warming things up to the south, while we still have bitter cold air masses that are up to the north, and you set up that really wild temperature gradient sometimes. Not the case here. Our only weather systems to worry about for this work week, and of course we have cold air around today, that's going to pull up out to a degree tomorrow. We should see temperatures bounce up a bit from the 30s today into the mid 40s and even some lower 50s when you head south across, say, southern New Jersey, southern Pennsylvania, down into Maryland. Probably see 50s there. You head further north from New York City northward, it'll probably stay mid and upper 40s. We have a weak weather front that is moving through Tuesday night. That might kick off a rain shower or two during the overnight period. Then Wednesday is dry. Temperatures will still be on the mild side Wednesday, in the 40s and low 50s. A secondary front comes through Wednesday. This has a shot of colder air behind it. Nothing exceptionally cold, but we will see temperatures trend downward. Maybe when the front goes by, there's a rain or even a snow shower with that, because we do have a little bit of an upper trough that we'll have to deal with, but doesn't really look like much. And then a cold high builds in for the remainder of the week. I think we'll see temperatures trend down and be mostly below average for Thursday and particularly into Friday. And our first chance of any kind of precipitation will come, of course, on the weekend. Later Saturday, we've got a storm headed up to to Minnesota, up in the northern plains. There'll be a warm front that will extend down to the Virginia coast, and ahead of it, we'll have some rain, and there might be enough cold air for a little bit of freezing precipitation well inland, north and west of New York City and well north of Philadelphia. You see it there in the pink, some freezing rain, a little bit of light blue on the front end. This is for later Saturday or Saturday night. But for everybody else, it's probably going to be mostly rain, and with a little luck, it'll hold off until Sunday. We don't really see any big storms around. There's maybe some colder air that comes in for the middle part of next week. But as far as any kind of storm development, or certainly any kind of winter storm development, at least from the standpoint of the new GFS, not really showing very much. We'll see what the other models tell us a bit later on. So while it's quiet, we're going to enjoy the downtime. Weather in 5 brought to you by Omni True Value Hardware at 1226 North Wellwood Avenue in West Babylon. 631-756-1125 is the telephone number, and the website is omnitruevalue.com. Just going to widen out a little bit here and show you at least what will be happening out to the west in the coming days. And in the meanwhile, while the map is resetting, just to remind you that the Joe and Joe Weather Show will be on tonight at 7:30 Eastern Time to go through everything short and long range. The west is going to be dealing with more in the way of storminess as we go through the week. You see snow out in the western part of the United States and also in parts of the Great Lakes as these storms take a track well to our west. And there'll be more energy to deal with as we run through next week as a storm system drops down through the Rockies and heads down into Texas. We'll see how that sets up. Maybe next week we'll start to see some severe weather making appearances across the southern states if we start to see some energy getting down into the southern plains as March is really the beginnings of severe weather season. That will peak out, of course, as we get into go through April and into May. But here in the Northeast, as we said, everything is going to be nice and quiet. So everybody have a nice day, and we'll see you later.